Ah, and I'm actually very excited about tonight's show. Tonight's show, we're joined by HA Goodman. He's been here several times. He is, I would say, he is a champion for Bernie Sanders. Um, Not just a champion for progressivism, but HA Goodman loves Bernie Sanders. And he's here to talk about the polls. We discussed it a little bit last night. Had a chance to talk in depth with David Pakman about the polls, Bernie Sanders closing the lead. So we're going to discuss that. We also are going to delve into Hillary Clinton's claims about Bernie Sanders's health care plan, universal health care. We're going to discuss that. I'm going to discuss Chelsea Clinton and some other things. But I am joined by HA Goodman. Hal, how's it going today?
Good. How you doing, Ben?
I'm doing good, man. So glad that you can join me.
Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure. Everyone who doesn't know, I think everyone should know you by now, especially if they're regular listeners to my show. But HA is a contributing author everywhere, right? I'm not even going to try to go down the list. But the some of the sites that everyone wants to write for, he's a contributing author there, and he is a pro Bernie. But not only pro Bernie, but very realistic at times. And I'll let you know tonight if you get off into La La Land.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there for shits and giggles, man. I'm tired, so just charge that. Anyway, let's talk about these polls.
Right.
What are your thoughts on this closing gap in Iowa? The fact that Hillary Clinton is no longer in the lead in New Hampshire. And it's just a dramatic change from just a month ago on the national poll, where a month ago she was in the lead by 20 points. I mean, this is a totally different day. What is that saying to you?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on. I love your show, Ben. You said something very interesting, and you said something about La La Land. And the thing is, the paradigm in 2015 and 2016, the paradigm that said Hillary Clinton was inevitable, that's a manufactured paradigm. That's just not the case, not reality. A lot of people can't have independent thought if it's not sanctioned by CNN or MSNBC or Fox. So when you look at poll numbers, let's look at poll numbers 6, 7, 8 months ago. Why did Clinton have a commanding lead? Well, nobody was talking about Bernie Sanders, and yet he went from virtually unknown to now over 30% support within the Democratic primary race without hardly any media coverage, with people saying he can't win. He also broke Barack Obama's fundraising record. And he has twice as much money as Obama had in 2008 at this point. He also has more money than any Republican candidate. So, and this is astounding. Go on.
No, I said I didn't know he had more than all the Republican candidates.
He has more than any Republican. He's raised more. He has 2.3 million contributions. And so in terms of the surge that they said, oh, well, that ended, it's still going on. Now, there's something people say, oh, it's hyperbole. I remember I was writing and people say, oh, it's hyperbole. He's saying these hyperbolic statements that Bernie will win. I actually think Bernie Sanders not just has a fighting chance. I think I wrote today that I wouldn't be surprised if he wins a landslide victory. I know it sounds crazy.
That's wait.
Here's why. Hang
on. I'm gonna let you unpack that. But see, when you start talking like that, that's when I'm like, oh man, Hal has gone into La La Land.
La La Land is good. It's a good land. But listen. Here's
no. All you gotta do. Listen. All you got to do is convince me and convince our voters, our listeners. Why do you believe there's going to be a landslide? And I'll eat my own words. Go for it.
No. I love you, Ben. No. The thing I'm saying is this. Let's look at 8 months ago. If somebody were to tell, if you're watching the Ben Dixon show right now, if somebody were to tell you 8-10 months ago that Bernie Sanders is going to win Iowa and New Hampshire and Nevada and potentially South Carolina, if you heard that 10 months ago, what would you say?
La La Land.
You would say worse than La La Land. You'd say the person's crazy. Oh, he doesn't know politics. Da. Hillary Clinton, I know that there's a lot of people who are blindly loyal just because of she's a Democrat. When you look at the use of racism and Islamophobia against Barack Obama in 2008, now Harvard's Orlando Patterson wrote an op-ed in the New York Times about the 3 a.m. ad and how it contained a racist sub-message. Prison lobbyists have donated to Hillary Clinton's campaign. Okay, that to me is like should kick you out of the Democratic race. But prison lobbyists, when you look at Hillary Clinton's racial justice record, Donasia Yancey, Boston's Black Lives Matter president, called it, quote, abysmal in NPR. You can look at how the Clintons, both Bill and Hillary, treated Congressman James Clyburn in South Carolina, where he actually called them out and said, hey, in the quote from the New York Times was, black people are incensed over the fact that they're treating Barack Obama in such a horrible way in 2008. So my question, this is why I say landslide, what are the reasons for Clinton's lead among African Americans, among Latinos? Are there a plethora of reasons? Are there many, many reasons why she's better than Bernie Sanders, who has a racial justice platform, much more comprehensive, who never took money from prison lobbyists, who was active in the civil rights movement? When you look also, one big thing for me, when Black Lives Matter protested Bernie, I think that was a very good thing. I think it was a good thing for Bernie Sanders. I think it was a good thing for Black Lives Matter. When Black Lives Matter visited Hillary Clinton, completely different dynamic. And when that dynamic took place, Clinton said, I don't believe in changing hearts. I believe in changing laws.
Right.
Well, she didn't add, she also believed in taking prison lobbyist money. So in terms of why, and really, when you look at, and you talk about the polls, trustworthiness, 60% of Americans do not trust Hillary Clinton. So in terms of favorability ratings, nobody, and CNN said, there's one CNN poll, 55% of Americans have an unfavorable view of Hillary Clinton. Americans have never elected a president they don't like and don't trust. That's just never happened.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask some questions, because I hear you, right? I've pointed out, though, the prison lobbyist money as soon as it was brought to my attention, because, and I'm glad you pointed it out, because that has gone underneath the radar for a lot of people. I've pointed out the trustworthiness factor. Why do you feel she is so successful right now, just out the gate? And how does Bernie Sanders overcome those last few hurdles? I'll leave it there, and then I'll ask a follow-up question. Well,
Hillary Clinton is successful, number one, because she's done some good things in her life. I mean, the Clinton Bill Clinton's presidency, there were good things that took place there. Plus, the Clinton name helps Hillary a great deal. The brand itself. But I liken what's going on to the 2008 financial collapse, the housing bubble, or the internet stock collapse in 2000. I used to be a financial advisor, and I can tell you that when people just start giving you stock tips out of nowhere, and they don't even really care about stocks at all, that's when you should sell. Okay, that's what you should get out of the market, because it's a bubble. When everyone says that Clinton is inevitable, but nobody can give you a reason, a tangible reason why her record, why her decision making would lead to a good presidency, then you have to question polls. And people don't really like you're an independent thinker. Sometimes I'll see a tweet from you, and I'll be like, wow, that Ben Dixon actually that's actually kind of breaking a paradigm there. It makes me feel uncomfortable sometimes, but you know what? It's important to kind of think independently. And when you only rely on the headline of a poll and you don't ask why Clinton would keep that lead, she lost in 2008 for the same reasons Bernie Sanders will win in 2016.
Yeah,
So
I see a lot of parallels with Bernie Sanders and Barack Obama campaigns in fighting the establishment, fighting the inevitability. And you're right. Like if you were to ask me, let me tell you, if you were to ask me in July 3rd, 2015, whether or not I thought Bernie Sanders had a snowball's chance in hell to win, I would say hell no. But then, and it's like I was telling the last caller, it's not because, and I think there's a lot of people like this, it's not because of any loyalty to Hillary Clinton. It's because of the sense of inevitability.
yes,
And yeah, really that. There's nothing more. And so when a person actually takes a breather and says, maybe it doesn't have to be Hillary. You know, when people just have that one moment of clarity, Will, just give a shout out to Will. When people have that one moment of clarity, then they really start seeing the possibility that we don't have to continue in this same establishment paradigm where we have Democrats who are almost the same as Republicans, and in some ways they're worse than Republicans, right? Especially to minority communities, they get away with things that Republicans can never get away with. So I think I would say to anyone who's trying to convince someone else about Hillary Clinton, find those people about Bernie Sanders against Hillary Clinton, rather, that they need to find those people who really just have it like that sense of doom and inevitability, and just give them a little glimmer of hope that there actually is somebody. And from everything that you're saying, how you believe 100%, even by the possibility of a landslide, that person is Bernie Sanders.
yeah, and I'll say this also. Nobody on the planet woke up last year, okay, and said, Donald Trump would make a good president. No one said that, okay? The only thing that took place was, in our society, media doesn't reflect necessarily public opinion. Right. Media helps shape public opinion to a great extent.
100%.
So what's hyperbole last year is called reality this year. And I'll say this also, when you talk about authenticity and talking about earning the African-American vote, and I've heard many people say this, and it's true, African-Americans vote Democrat around 90% every election. Well, who's earning the vote? Sandra, the only person to bring up Sandra Bland was Bernie Sanders in the debates. The only person to talk about police brutality and racial injustice to the extent that he did was Bernie Sanders. Okay, Hillary Clinton actually took over $130,000 from two major prison lobbyists.
Right.
These are the same interests who want mass incarceration to increase. So, okay. I mean, yeah, you follow the money trail, there's only one choice, and that's Bernie Sanders.
HA, I have to ask you a question. I have to throw on my journalistic hat for a minute. Most of the time, it's just straight commentary. All right, you're not going to like the question, but I have to ask.
Please.
What would you do? And I'm going to see, this is really going to show, I'm trying to see your skill level here. So here we go. What would you do in the case where Hillary wins the primary and she's up against a Donald Trump who is surging, and it looks like Donald Trump is going to win, and Donald Trump has not softened his tone. Donald Trump has gone, I mean, even worse than what he currently is. What would a HA Goodman do?
Okay. Well, HA Goodman would first find out if Donald Trump ever gave money to Hillary Clinton. And the answer would be yes. He gave $100,000 to the Clinton Foundation. You're laughing.
No, I'm smiling because I know you're good.
So Donald Trump also donated to Hillary Clinton's Senate campaigns. Donald Trump goes golfing with Bill. Donald Trump said he's very, very good friends with Hillary and Bill, and they went to. So what you see from Donald Trump now, I think he's a bastard. I think that he's a xenophobic, racist, demagogue. I do not want him as president. That's for sure. Okay. When you talk about the authorization for use of military force, which is what a president can use unilaterally to wage war, Hillary Clinton will have neoconservative advisors, and that's Hillary Clinton's foreign policy will be neocon. Those aren't my words, Ben.
I don't disagree with you on that.
Yeah, those are the words of a leading historian in the New York Times.
Yeah.
Just by
question. Yeah. Go for it.
Just by virtue of his affinity for money and hotels, and just the fact that he might fall into some foreign policy that isn't as hawkish as Hillary Clinton, he might actually be less hawkish than Clinton. He might. Now that he might be, just by virtue of being a Republican.
He might actually end up being homicidal. But anyway,
I don't want him. I definitely don't want him. Let me stop
you and say this. One, I'm fully aware that you didn't answer my question. I just want my audience.
No, let me answer it. What I would do is this. I'd write Bernie Sanders' name in, and I'll tell you why. If you don't take a stand now, and people say Supreme Court justices, well, if they'll live for the next 4 years, and if Trump is going to destroy the planet, he won't make it to a second term. So the point, so the point is, the point is this: you take a stand. First, you make sure that Bernie Sanders wins, because Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are very much the same on many things. They already exchanged money. So this is all like show business.
It's all a game.
Okay? It's all show business. I think that what Trump stands for is horrendous. I think that covertly what Clinton stands for is very similar. And I would say that if you don't take a stand, like let's say, Clinton wins, if you don't take a stand as a progressive to change the system, then you will have continual 3 a.m. ads. You'll have continually Democrats that take money from prison lobbyists. You'll have Democrats who spend 3 weeks dodging questions about Ferguson or dodging a statement about Ferguson like Hillary Clinton. Now, when one of the biggest constituencies you have is the African-American community in this country, and you wait 3 weeks once the flames have subsided, that says something about your character. So
let me jump in there and let's have a conversation between you and I now. Let's put Hillary and Bernie off. It's a conversation about them, but I disagree with you on this point. I don't think Hillary Clinton is racist. And I don't think.
Oh, I don't think. No. I don't think she's racist.
I don't think Trump is racist either. I stand corrected. You didn't say that expressly. You didn't say that you think she was racist, but it speaks to some of the character flaws. I think that both of them are doing what you said. They are playing a game. But then with Hillary Clinton, it's more about dodging every bullet that she possibly can so that she never has to answer a real question. I think she's just being a master politician. And for me, that is a bad thing, particularly in this non-establishment season. But I guess I don't see her as nefarious as much as I see her as opportunistic and almost weaselly, right? And maybe there's no shade of difference between that. Maybe I'm making a distinction that shouldn't even exist. But I don't see her as a person, except for on foreign policy. Now, let's table foreign policy. I think she's a hawk foreign policy wise, period, no question. But on domestic policy, I think that she's going to take any position that's going to be convenient for the moment, and not so much. I don't think she has a backbone. I don't think she has a moral center, but I don't think that she's nefarious in that way.
I agree with you. I do not hate Hillary Clinton. I do not think she's nefarious. I don't think she's racist. What I do think is that she wields power in a way that if she needs to use racism, she'll use it. If she needs to, if she needs to take money from prison lobbyists, she'll take it. If she needs to take money from Wall Street, she'll take it. If she needs to bomb Libya to seem tough, she'll do it. If she needs to vote for Iraq, she'll do it. And
as you wrap it like that, that's worse. That's worse than if she was just a true racist in her heart. That's worse than if she was truly afraid of Libya versus a person who's willing to bomb Libya for an opportunity. I wouldn't put that past her. And there's nothing in the neoconservative playbook that would ever make me second guess that opportunistic behavior in our military exploits. So in the way you wrap it right there, I have to agree with you 100%, AJ.
Thank you so much. And also, look, when you look at militarization of police, Well, where is that surplus gear coming from?
Coming right from the Pentagon.
Coming from all, we're more warlike after 9/11 because of our response to the war on terror. We've had perpetual wars.
Right.
That's going to permeate into society. So you're
Mhm.
going to have militarized police because you're in constant war overseas.
Absolutely.
And that affects African American, Latino communities. It affects white communities. It affects everybody.
I think I have a question here for you, HA. Okay, I have a question here from Paul in a message here. He said, "What do you believe is give us a negative? Give us a negative of Bernie Sanders. So, what's something that you view negatively about Bernie Sanders?"
Ah, well, I'll tell you this. I love Bernie, as you know,
Mm-hmm.
but any president, now let's, because I know that Clinton supporters are going to take this and try to twist it like they usually do, but there's a difference between a neocon and an American president.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so is Bernie going to continue the drone program? Probably, right? Is Bernie going to continue U.S. foreign policy to an extent? Yeah, of course. He's going to be an American president. If that's I want to, for HA Goodman, I want to end perpetual wars for the United States. I do not want that.
You said something huge there, right? And I agree with what you said 100%. It's the function of the American president to carry out either a direct neoconservative campaign abroad or a soft neoconservative, because Barack Obama he's a soft neoconservative as well in terms of its actual activity. If you really believe that Bernie Sanders is going to maintain that policy abroad, how why even criticize a Hillary Clinton?
I don't think that. I think that he will maintain certain aspects. I'm hoping, and I believe that he'll actually scale back certain things President Obama has done, and he'll be the antithesis of Hillary Clinton in terms of foreign policy. I don't believe he'll send. I know he will not send Americans into quagmires. So that, yes, I love Bernie Sanders for that. I even explained that in my YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I would say that I guess the caller said, well, what don't you like? I think that just by virtue of what he's running for, the nature of the United States, of an American president, would I like him to dismantle Guantanamo? Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Would I like him to end drones? Sure. I don't know if he's going to do either. I do know he's not going to be a neocon warhawk like Clinton. And I do know that he won't, because President Obama sent Americans to Syria, Iraq. He kept Americans in Afghanistan longer than after the war ended. Right. So one of the big things I like about Bernie is his foreign policy and him saying, I'll be damned to sending Americans off to fight. Hillary Clinton actually just recently said she was for U.S. ground troops right after the Paris attacks. So, I mean, God forbid it'll take one attack, God forbid, for Clinton to turn into Dick Cheney. So, and that's I don't want that.
That is a well said. I could not have that's a hell of a statement you just made there. HA, I think we had a pretty good conversation, man. I think next time we talk, we're gonna put down all the pretense about poll numbers and everyone else's expectations, because underneath all that you have a lot of great information, but underneath that you have some other things that you haven't even said yet. I hear it coming out of you. You're talking about the nature and the role of the U.S. presidency. I've read some of your work and you kind of allude to that, but I would like for you to unpack that a lot more next time, because I believe that that's the fundamental problem, is the role of the U.S. presidency in this entire global system, and that no matter who we put in that position, they are going to be constrained, so much so that they are going to start acquiescing to certain behaviors and certain policies that they were vehemently against previously. That's what I firmly believe. Go for it.
Real quick, I guess I'll just end it with this. You're 100% right, and sometimes the nature of the job would make anyone act in a similar manner. But I think that 2016, there's a choice in terms of, a choice in terms of paradigm.
Yeah.
Do you want the Democratic Party to become the Republican Party on war? If you do, you vote Clinton. If you want what one would think would be the Democratic Party, where we don't send soldiers everywhere, where we don't bomb everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
you vote for Bernie Sanders.
I definitely would say that if we want any chance, this is what made me decide to get out of my complacency and my apathy and my sense of inevitability with Hillary Clinton, is that if we ever want a chance in hell, reverse course from our neoliberal fetish and our neoconservative voyeurism, then it has to be somebody other than an establishment Democrat and an establishment Republican, because
Absolutely.
that's what we're going to get with a Hillary Clinton, or we're going to get with a Jeb. Well, forget Jeb, with a Marco Rubio or a Ted Cruz. Establishment is going to maintain exactly what we have, and they're probably going to make it a little worse. Anyway, man, listen, HA, you're more than welcome back anytime, man.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate the conversation. Thanks so much for joining us. Tell everyone how they can get up with you, and definitely give us the if you have the link to your YouTube channel or a short address, give that to us.
It's just HA Goodman on YouTube, and it's hagoodman.com. And Ben, I love your show. Thank you so much for having me on.
Hey, my pleasure, man. Everybody, give a round of applause to HA Goodman. Thanks so much for joining us. Great insight as always, and love to have you back anytime. You're more than welcome. Welcome back. All right, folks. I only have a few minutes left. I really enjoyed that conversation.